What is adolescence? Well, of course, people think about the teenage years, so we have a time of life of starting around 13 years of age. But adolescence is a phrase that really means the period between childhood and adulthood. Now, what that means, essentially, is that there's a time when there are lots of changes going on in the body called puberty that allow sexual characteristics to emerge. And as these changes happen, there's an onset of actually changes in the brain. Hormone levels in general change, secreted by the brain. Structural changes happen in the brain. All sorts of remodeling happens. But this period is actually a time when these changes can allow fundamental differences in how the mind works. We start thinking more abstractly. We start thinking about ourselves in different ways. We start having relationships with our peers in different ways. And all of these things are a part of adolescence. Now, you might say, well, okay, if that's the onset of adolescence somewhere around puberty, what happens with the offset? When do you go from adolescence to adulthood? And this is a really great question. There isn't as clear a demarcation of the end of adolescence, but we do have a feeling that it goes into the mid-20s. And we know that from studies of the brain which show that there's a remodeling in the structure of the brain that happens throughout the teen years and all the way to the mid-20s. And so now we're basically saying that somewhere around your mid-20s, your adolescence is going to emerge into adulthood. Lots of things will shape that, how culture is, where you are in your education, what your family expects. But in general, we think of the adolescent period as around the second dozen years of life.